Hey everybody, this is Brian Geller, Sales Director for Ultimate Ears Pro. How's everybody feeling today? We hear a few people out there. It's Saturday here at NAMM, last day, and we've got the first event of the day. If you were here, I don't think you were here the other day, Dave. We had Stevie Wonder here on stage. It was great, so I don't think we'll be as exciting as Stevie.
Stevie who?
Stevie Wonder, the one and only. So today we're going to do a little workshop. I want to introduce the man here to my right, one of the top vocal coaches, not only in the country, in the world, heavily known, heavily sought out. You've taught or worked with Michael Jackson, Justin Bieber, myself.
That was the
right.
That was the crown.
That was the crown.
But actually, it was great because it's been a great relationship.
Yeah, we've become really good friends.
Yep.
So. Also, Adam Lambert, who's now fronting Queen, as well as Arnel Pineda from Journey.
Yep.
So, Dave, tell us how did you get started being a vocal coach? I mean, you had to have been a great singer to morph into that.
I literally wanted to be you. I wanted to be a rock star. I started out playing in bands and doing all that in the Bay Area and in Utah, and quickly found out my passion shifted from wanting to be on the front of the stage in the spotlight to loving being behind the scenes, loving working with somebody else's growth way more than being the rock star. And found out like mid-90s, somewhere through there, that teaching filled me more than rehearsing, going to a gig, doing all that stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And you were involved in the Seth Riggs program, where Seth was one of the highly, the biggest.
That Stevie Wonder guy, yeah.
Right. Is that how?
Well, I guess so. I started, studying with Seth and some other people, and then I focused in on the study with Seth, and that lasted years. And then I sort of reverse engineered his teaching, codified it, institutionalized it. We had a teaching training program, and it grew. It was huge. It's 700 teachers around the world. And so that really not just satisfied my teaching, but also satisfied that side of me that wanted to build things and grow things. So yeah, I was with Seth for years.
Got it. So I think we've known each other maybe 10 years or so. And how did you get involved with custom in-ear monitors, and how does that play into the teaching aspect of helping vocalists?
So when I'm working with an artist that is heading out on the road, if I don't have in-ears, I go to rehearsal, it's a waste of time. And some of the artists I work with, I've never worked with until I get a call to go to center staging or third encore. I get over there. If I don't have these tools, I have no idea what they're going through. And back in the day when there was wedges, you go to a rehearsal, you still didn't know what they were hearing, so unless you're standing right by them the whole time, you don't know what they're going through. This has been the biggest tool, the biggest change for helping an artist, either on the road or in rehearsals and prep, of all the tools that I have. This is the thing. Like recently, I misplaced my ears, and I had to go to a rehearsal for an artist that was heading out on the road, and I was in a panic because there was nothing I can do. I had to put that off for them.
So when you also worked with with American Idol, I think, 3 seasons, 4 seasons?
Yeah, I just worked with the tour, so I didn't work with them on the show. As soon as they hit the road, I worked with more than 4 seasons. I don't know, everything from Jordan Sparks through the end of that first run before they came back.
When it was good?
When it was Randy and it was all those guys. Good, when it was good, yeah.
So what's that like? I mean, most of those singers are younger, and probably working with their first set of in-ear monitors. What's the learning curve typically like?
Those kids were fully unprepared for what hit them. So being on a show where you're singing one song and getting eliminated or whatever is one thing. Going and touring and having to deal with sound in every venue you're in differently they were fully unprepared. But having in-ears and having a good monitor person that can help them, that's probably the saving grace for all of those kids, other than having the lifestyle of being on the road that they were just not used to. But the in-ears, I'm telling you, the in-ear thing And obviously, I love your introduction of who I am, the best in the world, whatever. But my partnership with the best in-ears in the world has really made the biggest difference. So, I mean, Ultimate Ears, this tool has not only saved me, but probably, you know, income-wise, had me on the road doing what I do and helped my make a living. So.
And you just recently, in the last year, I believe you worked with Billy Crystal.
Yeah, well, that was Billy and I worked for 4 years before pandemic, little during pandemic, and then he did his show on Broadway. But that's a whole different thing. You know, there's no in-ears, then, you know, it's all stage stuff.
I think my favorite story as it relates to you is the call I got from you, and you were working with Arnell, the lead singer from Journey, and Arnell was having a few issues with his vocals and wanted to tune up, and you called me up, and we were going to get on a Zoom call and help him with his vocals. And I think both of us were like, wow, if our 13-year-old self, 15-year-old self, whatever, when Escape came out, you know, in the early 80s, knew that our older self, our follically challenged self, would actually be helping the singer from Journey better his craft. I think it's amazing, and I thought that was one of the most interesting Zoom calls I've been on.
Yeah, so Journey was my first concert in 82, 81, somewhere through there. Bryan Adams opening for Journey. It was a huge part in shaping who I am as a singer, making me I wanted to be Steve Perry. Like, I wanted to be a rock star like that. And to be involved and being called to go and be on the road with Journey and help Arnell, and just like what you're saying is, like, there was a moment we were on the plane flying to a gig, and Jonathan Cain said, you know, thanks for being here, it was so helpful, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my 14-year-old self would have exploded.
Right.
But
exactly.
It's an interesting thing, because the people that did influence me growing up, I've worked with so many of them. I don't think anybody is prominent or influential on me as Journey, but there's been a lot of different artists that I've worked with. You know, you just can't predict how that full circle thing comes back around. And me finding my path rather than being a rock star, but being supportive, is what makes that happen. So.
I think too, in that call with Arnell, one of the first things I asked him, you know, he's a singer in a hard rock Van Halen tribute show, was, well, Arnell, what do you like in your mix? You know, all singers are typically different, but one thing's for sure, and pretty common with all singers, is they want themselves in their ears. And Arnell said, well, I want the band in my ears, but I never put my vocal in my ears. And I said, well, how can you do that? It's like, how do you hear yourself? What's the point? I think you and I kind of were like, wow, this is...
So he's a freak of nature. I don't understand how it works for him. But again, the tool, so I can hear what the artist needs, and every artist wants something different. Sometimes it's a frequency, sometimes it's a dB level
effect,
mix or whatever.
Reverb.
Yeah, a little reverb. Arnell wants to hear the band, and he does not want to hear any reflection off the back of the room. He wants to keep it encompassed in his head with none of his vocals in there. And that's where he's the most, his voice works the best. You can do a 2-hour show and he is on pitch and everything is great. But it blew me away too.
Right, very unique. I mean, you know, one of the things I found that's great about in-ear monitors, especially Ultimate Ears, is you know, you're getting the hearing protection. So my older self is going to be thanking me.
Yes.
The other thing is, if you're having a rough night, you know, maybe you didn't get a lot of sleep, and you're going to have a difficult night of singing, being able to hear yourself, know at this point where, okay, I need to skip around maybe this note, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I can change this up. Being able to hear myself allows me to be able to do that. So that was a big thing with Arnell. I'm like, man, you're singing these Journey songs. It's like, what do you do if you're having a rough night?
And he's sitting up on B's, B flats, C's, just floating up there over and over and over and over again. Every money note in a Journey song, almost all of them are either A, B, or C sharp. All that area, crazy.
I was on the side of the stage, Billy Idol performed, and I had my Ultimate, my live with me. And my wife and I are on the side of the stage, and the sound guys gave us some belt packs, like, oh, do you want to listen to the mix of the band?
And so we got a belt pack and plugged in, and Billy Idol came out and played, and I had Billy Idol's mix in my ear while he was playing, but Billy Idol only had his vocal in his ears, no drums, no guitar, no bass, nothing. So it was like, this is my band, I'm singing, you better follow along with me.
Again, that's the magic of the tool. Every artist needs something different, and until these quality in-ears came along, it was a guessing game, right?
Absolutely.
And you can't control it. But I want to go back to the Arnell thing. So we're in, I think, Houston with Journey. Arnell's having these issues with his in-ears. I call you, we do a Zoom call. By the time we get to Dallas, we have a new set of ears from you guys. And that's, again, I'm going back to the magic of Ultimate Ears. This thing where you guys have the scan that's digital, that is unique to you guys, where else can you call in Houston, and 2 days later we're in Dallas, and we have new in-ears? That is unbeatable with anything else in this.
Yeah, I think it's a testament the whole team at Ultimate Ears.
Yep.
I think we make amazing sounding product. I think there's some other in-ear monitor companies out there that also make great sounding product.
We just don't like them. No, we don't.
I think it's the service aspect. I mean, it's how fast can we can deliver a brand new order within 10 business days. If you need a service, we can do it within 10 business days. We're fast. We understand that once a vocalist starts using in-ear monitors on the road, they can't be without them.
Right.
So it's
You're
our
not going
job to
back
make
to-
sure and be there
yeah.
for them at all times.
But that key thing when you're on the road, you don't have time to retool, figure it out again. This is a train that's going, and you got to keep up. And this tool is amazing. I mean, Arnell sounded when we got to. Let's see, it might have been opposite. It was Dallas and got to Houston because it was at the rodeo. And there was 90,000 people at that show, and he had his ears, and he sounded flawless that whole show.
So another replacement singer of an iconic band is Adam Lambert for Queen. I mean, Adam Lambert, the voice he's got, it's just like, wow, he needed first of all, he needed a vocal coach, right? So what was it that he needed help with? Was it a tune-up? Was he having issues? And what about his in-ear monitor experience?
Well, I think addressing this idea of a vocal coach, a singer needs a vocal coach like a professional NFL player needs a fitness trainer. I'm not teaching these guys to sing like on a basic level. I'm making sure that they are functioning on a high level and keeping their machine and their system running at a really high level. So I think that's the one thing to really distinguish the difference between teaching somebody to sing and teaching somebody to be physically healthy with their voice so they can continue doing what they're doing. So that's kind of when you're talking Arnell or you're talking Adam Lambert or any of those, that's what you're talking about. And with Adam, I mean, Adam is super gifted. Like, Adam's a super, super gifted singer. We did go through a series because the first tour was 2009, I think. So in-ears were sometimes not.
Sure.
You do Ellen's show and they're wedges. Or we tried in-ears and it wasn't working and he switched back to wedges. And it wasn't until we got the right in-ears and that he totally went to in-ears. But there was a time it was going back and forth trying to make it work. And that tool, again, as it's become more and more used and more refined, and people expect that you need to have packs on your stage, whatever venue you're in, because some venues are set like that, like going to the Ellen show. And other, you're setting up your Claire system and your front of house and your in-ears and all this stuff. So it's just a tool at this point that is not, if you're talking about being a pro in this business and touring, it's like not having a microphone. You've got to have in-ears. It's just what you got to have, and you got to get used to it. And then the other thing you guys have added is the ambient.
Yeah, I mean, how important is it for especially a singer using in-ear monitors for the first time? How important is it that singer uses Ultimate Ears, of course, but with an ambient port?
Everybody's different, just like the mix is different. So some are getting used to this ambient where they feel like they're interacting with the crowd. And for some people, that's key. For others, like Arnell, It wants that. All he wants to do is hear the music. So the cool thing is with this tool is it's flexible. We add ambient, we take some away, we create a mix where the frequency, especially for singers, somewhere between 8 and 12,000 hertz, or sometimes even lower, sometimes around 4,000 hertz. And that makes them feel like they can hear themselves better, all these things. But again, that tool is so flexible that it allows me as a voice coach to go into the setting and make sure they feel comfortable for that tour.
And which model is your favorite? What are you using right now?
Well, I love the lives forever. I mean, those were great. But now I have the premieres due to my misfortune of losing. I don't know where they went. But these premieres, I use the premieres not just for rehearsals and going out with an artist. I listen to music through them. I mean, the frequency spectrum on this is like so wide. They're amazing.
The premieres are pretty amazing. I use lives on stage. When I'm traveling and flying and using my in-ear monitors to drown out the babies behind me.
Yes.
I like the 11s. I like the low end. It's kind of a little bit of a 3D feeling in my head watching the movie and so forth. But I think there's a model for everybody. I think we have 8 models right now.
Yep.
Bass players, drummers, singers, keyboardists. If you're mixing in the studio, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, but like for me, listening to music, like I'll put this on and I'll hook up my phone and I'll be just listening to music while I'm doing stuff around, and that wide spectrum to me, I just love hearing the full spectrum. So
that's great. Where can everybody find Dave Stroud?
On stage at Ultimate Ears at 11 o'clock.
No, I'm a lead singer. I'm brand new. I want to hire Dave Stroud. How do I find you?
My website, davestroud.com, is probably the easiest place to find me. I'm not a great social media guy. I post a picture once a month.
Let the young ones do that. Right?
Yeah, it's not for me. So, but yeah, you can find me there. And listen, I'm happy to always answer questions. I have a network of teachers around the world that if you're looking for somebody and I'm not the right person, I can definitely find somebody for you.
And Vocalize You. What's the latest with Vocalize
So
You?
Vocalize You is an event, a 10-day, very intense artist development program in LA every year, and it comes up in this year is July, I think around the 10th or 11th. So there's Vocalize You, and I'll be doing some appearances there. I'm not there the whole time anymore, but that's been going on since, well, it's changed names, but it's been going on since 2000. So very intense program.
That's great.
Yep.
Dave, thank you so much for being here at Ultimate Ears. You're a great friend. He also has a great cabin in Big Bear.
We love Big Bear.
Best spot ever. Movie theater, 3 levels, barbecue.
All the good
Got
stuff.
the quad runners now.
Yeah.
It's a good time. So, anyways, Dave, thanks for being here and being a part of the Ultimate Ears family. For everybody else, check out Ultimate Ears online. Come see us. We're at NAMM. This is the last day. And we'll sign off for now. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. It's always my honor to be involved with Ultimate Ears now. Thanks.